Hi everyone. So this is going to be part 2 of my background story. So this will be the video where I talk about my skin problems or my past skin problems. So this will be divided into 3 parts. First, my skin problems, like how they came about, my healing journey, so how I stopped scratching. And then the third one will be how it relates to self-love and how I was able to maintain better habits or get better habits and started loving myself a lot more, significantly more because of my skin problems. When people first see me, they notice that I have relatively clear skin, but my skin isn't perfect. If you take like a super close look, I do have some blemishes, a lot actually, but who really notices is but me. But I am very fortunate enough that I don't really have any skin problems on my face, or it's like nothing to worry about. My skin problems occurred sometime late in February, and it ended, or I felt like I completely healed for the most part, like late July. So this was just this year of 2020. I believe it came about because of extreme weather changes. So sometimes my skin is very sensitive. So in February, I believe it was cold, and then one day it was warm. It was like a lot hotter than it was the previous day, if I recall correctly. And my skin problems began in my inner thighs. And part of it, I mean, because, okay, so the problem was that it was itchy, it was red, and it was also bumpy, but it was on my inner thighs. And you wear pants, so then you have chafe that adds to it. Okay? So that sucked a lot. And then since it was like super itchy, I kept like scratching. And then for some reason I started becoming like itchy like throughout my body, like everywhere. So like all over my legs, around my stomach, and then around or pretty much on my back, my armpits, my shoulders, my arms. I still have some scars here. I mean, I was actually planning on documenting my journey like before and after pictures, but it kind of triggered me and I wasn't really in a good place that time. It was very difficult to sleep, put on clothing, and to shower. And those are like basic things. Like it really sucked. So that's why I am very grateful every day for like not being itchy. So to recap, I was itchy everywhere. It was very, very painful. The last time I felt that I was in so much pain was like probably like 10 years ago in high school, where I was itchy on my inner thighs as well. And I think part of the reason is probably chafe. But still, it's like not a good place to be. So now I'll discuss how I healed. In addition to my skin being like red, pink, bumpy, it was also dry, which wasn't a very good combination at all. And my skin problems got worse because I kept scratching. I kept scratching until I bled because it felt so good in the moment. To provide myself with relief, I used Aquaphor, aloe vera, and this other form of aloe vera, but I think this is like more for your face. So actually my skin was pretty dry around this area right here. However, they only provide temporary relief, and I looked it up, but okay, so when you apply something on your skin, right, it starts to feel a little bit itchy sometimes because it's part of the healing process. So when you heal, you'll start to feel a little bit itchy, maybe itchier, because there's so many reactions occurring. And because there are so many actions occurring, you start to feel itchy, and it makes you want to scratch. Okay, but you have to do your best to resist it, or I had to do my best to resist it, and unfortunately, I failed many, many, many times. So I believe because I kept scratching, I kept bleeding, more bacteria kept coming in, which is what prolonged my skin problems. And I was also in a very bad place mentally because even when I put on, a couple of months ago, it would have been really hard for me to put on this sweatshirt because I was just like very itchy. It was just so uncomfortable. And then that made me realize, I'd rather have skin discoloration, something I would prefer not to have, but I'd rather have skin discoloration instead of being itchy. It's more important to feel comfortable than how you look, like I and so then that's what led me to skin positivity. I became more positive of how I looked, and it was just more important on how comfortable I felt. So even though I don't have eczema or psoriasis, so my skin problems were just very temporary. I had them in the past, I think 10 years ago, but it's just like a once in a while sort of thing. But I looked at people who healed from eczema and psoriasis to help me with my healing process. So, of course, the most important thing is to get a good amount of sleep, which is very, very difficult when you're super itchy because it keeps you up all night until you're really tired and then you knock out. And then to eat healthy as well. And because of my skin problems, I ended up eating more watermelon because it has a lot of vitamin E. To prevent my chronic scratching, okay, this is the good part, is I learned to calm down. So whenever I scratch, I'm like, oh my gosh, it feels so good. And I start thinking other thoughts, and these thoughts keep racing in my head. Whether they're good or bad, some stress builds up. But I told myself, okay, just relax. And instead of scratching, I just put my hand on my whichever body part, just put my hand there to stop scratching. This may or may not work, but I also kept my nails short as well. But yeah, to prevent myself from scratching, I took a few deep breaths, and then I just put my hand on like the itchy part. So it's like I had some temporary relief, but I didn't have pain. So it still soothed me, but it didn't like hurt me. Okay. Also, I became very strong enough. I'm very proud to say that I have learned how to mentally scratch in my head. Okay, what this means is that I can imagine myself scratching. Okay, this is a very difficult task to do, but let's just say I have, because I still get the occasional heat welt when it's hot, but like let's just say I'm itchy here, right? Nowadays, I focus on the area and then I imagine myself scratching for like 30 seconds or so. So I get the relief without the pain, so I'm not bleeding. Okay, but that was very difficult for me to do. So to prevent myself from scratching in the past, one thing you can do is like to put your hands away from you, either keep your hands busy, but if you're sleeping, put your hands away from you. Another good tip is like to wear gloves or to just clasp your hands so you're like not scratching anymore, or you could prevent yourself from scratching. Okay, so now I'll talk about skin positivity and how it led to. Okay, so just to emphasize, the way I healed was that I stopped scratching. So that was my main cure from my skin problems, and developing techniques to prevent scratching. But I honestly feel like my skin problems were a blessing in disguise. And the main reason why is because I was focusing on myself. It was the only thing I can think about was my body and how terrible it felt, you know? But then I learned that healing is not linear. I had good days, I had bad days. I healed I mean, it was good one day, then all of a sudden I decided to scratch it and it became worse. So it kept going back and forth until I healed eventually. So this applies to all things in life. Like you may have good days, you may have bad days. You'll always have setbacks. But as long as you keep trying, you'll get to where you want to be. Okay, so like I mentioned before, skin positivity. It was more, I felt, because of my skin problems, I realized it's better to feel comfortable and healthy than how you look. Because you look fine. Like, the most important thing is that you are healthy and comfortable. And then this made me love myself even more because it's kind of weird, but like when I had these skin problems or when I'm like super itchy, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'd rather have like weight problems. I'd rather be sick, with a cold because these skin problems were just very uncomfortable. But how I grew to love myself was that at one point my hands were very itchy, especially my right hand, because I would write a lot. I started appreciating the fact that my hand can still like write and that my legs can function. So right now I don't have skin problems and I'm not itchy. And I just focus more on the function and what my body can do, which will be my first tip for this Love Yourself series. So that's how I came about to loving myself, was that I realized, it's more important to feel comfortable and to appreciate what I have, because before I was in a very, very, very dark place and it was just really painful to do all those like basic things. And then I realized, I have to appreciate my body. It's the only one I have, take care of it well. It allowed me to have better habits, take shorter showers, eat healthier, and to reduce my stress, because one of the reasons why my skin problems were exacerbated was because of my stress levels. I didn't realize how like stressed out I was like for no reason until I started, taking deep breaths and calming myself down. And if you'd like, there's also a meditation or meditations on self-love if you guys are interested in that, all over the internet. Okay, thank you for watching.